Konnichiwa everybody, welcome back to another episode, and a bit different today I suppose. I've been doing a bit of a stock take, as we all do I'm sure, sort of sorting through stuff I don't use to, move some stuff on, to raise some funds to buy stuff I actually do want. Something we all probably do every now and again. I've been doing it a lot lately, to fund all the stuff I've been buying. I'm slowly selling all my PAL stuff because I don't use it. It's for the age of the stuff I play. Generally, PAL stuff's awful in comparison to NTSC. So the stuff, it's much the minority in my collection, the PAL stuff. But the stuff I have collected, I simply don't use, to be honest. So I'm gradually selling it all bit by bit to fund, the NTSC stuff I do buy. So, I've been stock taking my GameCube collection. Now I'm a big fan of the GameCube. After the death of Sega, with the Dreamcast, I kind of then sort of switched my allegiances to Nintendo really after that. And the GameCube became my system of choice at that time. So, I've got a good majority of the ones I'd like, but there are still some I'm looking to buy if I can find them at the right price. So, as I said, I've been seeing where I can sell really, and getting rid of all the PAL. But I thought it might be a good opportunity to run through my GameCube collection, and it will be sort of a good indicator for me, like I did with the Saturn, at the beginning of the year. When I did my Saturn collection video, it'll be a good thing to look back on for myself in say another 12 months and to see what I've added to the collection, and where it sits this time next year perhaps, like I'm going to do with the Saturn. I'm still more or less concentrating on Saturn at the moment and in the next few months probably. But if something GameCube crops up, I will be looking to buy a few GameCube as well. So this is where we're at the moment. I've got probably a 50-50 mix of Japanese and American games. I think there's too many for one video, so I'm going to split it into a Japanese episode and an American episode. So we'll start with the Japanese games I've got today. Now, if there are some gaps in this thinking, you might think to yourself, well, why hasn't he got this game or that game? But it might be the fact I've got it on American, so it might be in the second episode. That said, there are some I'm missing, so I could realistically need it for my collection. If there is something you think, well, you ought to get this, drop it in the comments if you like. Right, without further ado, we've waffled on enough. Now, first of all, I've got to say, the Japanese GameCube games are my favourite game boxes ever. Any system, Japanese GameCube are by far the best ever designed for me. I absolutely love them. And in quite a few instances, I've bought them solely for the box, because I like them that much, even if I've already got the American version. Or the PAL, possibly. I will be looking to probably replace some of my PAL games with the NTSC versions. But yeah, the first one we've got anyway, we've wasted 4 minutes already. We've got Viewtiful Joe. Now, I'm not going to open up all these cases because it's going to take too long, but obviously, if you're not aware, you probably are, but all Japanese cases are probably half the size of a standard DVD GameCube PAL game case. And they all come with a cardboard outer sleeve, which is hollow, and then a plastic case inside that, which is like half the size of a DVD case, I would say. And then within that you've got the disc, obviously, you've got the space for the memory card, the same as the PAL case, and you've got the manual as well. But as with most Japanese games, the artwork is usually much nicer, and I just love this box. I've actually got this game American, but I had to buy this just because the box is so cool. It's pink, obviously. There's a lot of pink on this channel. But, it's a great game. If you've not played Viewtiful Joe, fantastic arcade sort of platform beat 'em up cartoon, very much like a cartoon. It's a mega game. If you've not played it, also on the PS2, check out Viewtiful Joe. Right, it's on PAL. You can get that on PAL. Now this one is the third game in the Viewtiful Joe series. This is obviously Japanese. This is called Viewtiful Joe Battle Carnival on Japanese. I think it's called Red Hot Rumble on PAL, something like that. And American, I believe. Now this isn't like the first two games. This is like a Smash Bros type melee beat 'em up style game. It's not brilliant. I mean, it's okay. I'm not a fan of Smash Bros, so that if you do like Smash Bros, you might really like this. It does look nice. I'm sure you'll see that on there. But I think it's dearer than the first two, if memory serves me right. But I don't think it's a fortune. I think this might be GameCube exclusive. I'm not sure. I've never seen a PS2 version, but there might be. I'm not sure. Right, now this next one is a Japanese exclusive, and for me it's one of the best games on the GameCube. Absolutely love it. And it's Karuru in Squash. Now this is, well, it started life on the Game Boy Advance, I believe, as Kurunin, I think it was called. I had it on my Japanese Game Boy Advance when it came out. I've still got the Japanese version, actually, my original copy. And then there's a sequel on the Game Boy Advance which didn't come out PAL, it's only Japanese exclusive, and it's quite pricey. I've not got that, unfortunately. But this is like the third, I think it's the third one in the series anyway. It's the only one on the GameCube, and it's much the same idea. You've got to get the spinning bat from the start of the level to the end, but obviously there's many obstacles in between, and it's a puzzle game, obviously. But this is fantastic. Unfortunately, it's not that cheap, probably because it's Japanese exclusive. But if you like it on the Game Boy and you can play import GameCube games, this is definitely one to pick up. Fantastic game, Karuru in Squash. Then the next one we've got is Dragon Drive. Now this is a Game Boy treasure, but contrary to most treasure games, it's not very well regarded, and as such it's not that pricey to buy. It's Japanese exclusive again. I don't think it's too bad, to be honest. I've not played a great deal of it, but I don't think it's too bad. It's kind of, it's a little bit like Panzer Dragoon, only it's nowhere near as good as that. But that's the kind of premise. But obviously there is some Japanese text and you can't understand totally what's going on. But, you know, it's a curiosity that might be worth checking out. If, you know, if you particularly like treasure games, you know, you're probably going to want to check this out, even though it's not up to their usual standard. That's Dragon Drive. Then next we've got a game most people have probably played. We've got Mr. Driller. Drill Land in this case. This one's particularly nice condition, it's like brand new. A basic puzzle game, obviously. I'm sure you've all played it. You drill down from the top of the screen to the bottom, if you can. Nice little game, I think. Good arcade, quick blast game. Can't really go wrong, and it's usually dirt cheap on most things, Mr. Driller. Then next, this is part of a 4-game set that was originally a budget label in Japan when it, you know, at the time. Now, unfortunately, they're all rather expensive because they're all retro inspired, and I'm guessing they probably didn't sell that well at the time, and they're all Japanese exclusive. And this first one is PC Genjin, or PC Kid, or Bonk, or whatever you want to call it, which is obviously, it started life on the PC Engine as their mascot kind of character. Platform game, updated for the GameCube obviously with much more enhanced visuals to the original. I personally think it's really rather good. A lot of people, I think, from what I've read, much prefer the PC Engine version. but I think it's really good, and unfortunately, like I say, it is quite pricey. There are 4 games in this Hudson budget label set. I've only got 2 of them. I would really like the other 2, but like I say, they're not that common and they are quite pricey. But that's PC Engine anyway. This is volume 3, that one, of the 4. And then we've got, this is volume 4 of that 4 game set, and we've got Adventure Island, or in Japan it's called something like Takahashi Menjin no Bukunjima. Say that again fast. But yeah, it's Adventure Island, which obviously is Wonder Boy by another name. Again, obviously enhanced visuals for the GameCube. Lovely condition again, this one. But again, Japanese exclusive, quite pricey unfortunately, but cracking game, Adventure Island. Like I say, there's another 2 I'd love in that set, but they're, you know, not that easy to come by. Not at a good price anyway. There's QB Cloud Runner and Superstar Soldier. So they're probably my 2 number 1 GameCube wants really. Then this next one, I think there are 4 games in this series, and that's Naruto. Now this is a Japanese manga style fighting game. I think the first one definitely came out PAL. I think the second one is possibly US only and now PAL. And I don't think the third and the fourth one came out outside of Japan. Nothing special, to be honest. Looks alright. It's fairly standard Japanese fighting. It's 3D. It's nothing that's going to blow your socks off, but they are cheap games, the Japanese ones at least. I think the PAL and the American ones are much more expensive, but it's not too bad. Naruto. Like I say, there are 4 in that set. I've not got number 2. We've got number 3. They're all fairly similar from what I remember, though it's been quite a long time since I played them. And we've got number 4. I will track down number 2 at some point when I see it at the right price. All these Cube games I've got, they're all complete in the box. I won't buy these Japanese Cube games unless they're complete. You see quite a lot for sale without the cardboard sleeve. I mean, it obviously gets lost, but it's an absolute deal breaker without the cardboard sleeve for me. That's more or less unboxed without that, to be honest. So it's got to be complete for me. And then the next one we've got, now again, I think there are 4 of these in Japan as well. I'm not sure that all of them came out on PAL and American. I'm not 100% sure, but they're the One Piece games anyway. There's at least 3. There might be 4. I can't remember. This is One Piece Treasure Battle, and it's kind of on a similar vein to Naruto. It's very Japanese style. Obviously, there's lots of One Piece games on many other systems throughout the years, but I think this is the only one I've got actually. But I was drawn to this because it's not like a standard fighter. This one, as I remember, you're like within an arena, more like Power Stone perhaps, and there's some treasure somewhere within that arena, and you've got to sort of get to the treasure before your opponent, and it's quite a fun little game, as I remember. One Piece Treasure Battle. Then the next one, now again, I think there's only one of these. This is Canoe Command 2, and now there is an American version of this. I'm not sure about PAL. It's called something like Muscle Bomber or something Ultimate Muscle Bomber, or it's something to do with that, or like that. I can't remember exactly, but I'm sure it's quite pricey. This one is quite reasonably priced. And it's more of a wrestling arena fighter, this one. You can see it's got you within a ring on the back there. But what fantastic artwork. I mean, just look at that. You just can't fault the Japanese artwork. Some are better than others, but some are just incredible. That's Canoe Command 2. Now, the artwork on this one's not quite so good, but this is another Japanese exclusive, and it's Legend of Golfer. You don't tend to see this one too often. You've got to like golf games, obviously, but I do. At least more arcadey ones than pure simulation, anyway. This is really rather a good game. As with a lot of Japanese games, there are, you know, it has got Japanese text menus, but you can negotiate it with a bit of trial and error. This is kind of, I suppose it's a bit like Everybody's Golf and that style of game, but it's more, it hasn't got sort of cutesy characters. They're like realistic characters, but it plays quite arcadey like an Everybody's Golf style game, and it's got the swingometer like Pebble Beach. So it's kind of a mishmash of a few different golf games, this one, but it's not a bad game at all, to be honest. Legend of Golfer. Then, who doesn't like a Bomberman game? I'm a big fan myself, and we've got Bomberman Jetters, and this came out PAL, I think. But this is going to be your cheaper option. It's got your standard battle mode, and then it's got a 3D based adventure mode as well, which is quite good on this, as I remember. Not a bad little game, Bomberman Jetters. And then we've got an all-time classic. I had this with my launch console when I first had it, Japanese, way back when. Whenever it was, 2000 or so, is it? The Cube came out in Japan, something like that. And we've got Super Monkey Ball. Revolutionary at the time. What an amazing fun game it was. With all the mini games and the party games, brilliant. I kind of fell out of love with it as time went on, and you know, new versions came out, and for me this original one's the best one. I've not tried the more modern recent releases of it, but this is a great game for me. Super Monkey Ball. Sega, obviously, and I'm Sega boy, born and bred, always has been, always will be. And in a similar note, we've got Virtua Striker 3. This is my original game I've had from new. Classic Sega coin-up, obviously, Virtua Striker. It's football, you know, not much to explain about it, but yeah, lovely box artwork again, Virtua Striker 3. I'm not a big fan of football games, and I buy very few of them, but an arcade one like that I'm quite happy to play, much like Super Sidekicks on the Neo Geo. Then this is one of only 2 copies of FIFA I own, and we've got FIFA 2002. Now, I don't buy FIFA games, I've got no interest in them whatsoever. I just bought this because it's quite rare to see a Japanese FIFA game. I think this is the only one on the Cube. It's the only one I've seen Japanese anyway. Nothing to explain about, you know, it's in nice condition. But I just bought it because it was very cheap, and it's a bit of an oddity on the Japanese Cube, really. Nothing much to say about that, really. Then, in a similar vein, one of the best soccer games ever made for me is J-League Striker on the N64, the original version, that came out not long after launch of the console, and it's still one of the greatest football games ever made to me. I think it was re-released in the US and UK as ISS on the 64, but for some reason I preferred the original Japanese one. And in a similar vein, I've got Winning 11-6. Obviously this is number 6. I think all the others were on PS2 from memory, but this is the only one I've actually got myself. I've not got the PS2 versions. I bought it again because it's reasonably priced on the Cube, and it's nice to have. It is a decent game of football, really. there is a bit of Jap text again, obviously, but it's not too bad. Then we've got Family Stadium 2003. Now this is a baseball game, and I'm a big fan of an arcade baseball game. None compared to Baseball Stars on the Neo Geo, but I do quite like this. It's there's a lot of these Japanese cutesy, super deformed character baseball games on the Cube. Majority are by Konami, the GQ baseball games. I think this might be the only Namco one. This is really rather good. I'm not sure if I'm not sure, but I doubt this came outside of Japan. I've never seen a PAL version. Family Stadium 2003. Good little baseball game though. And then this is, I think this is the last game I bought on the Cube, actually. And we've got Chirinko Hero. And this is a kart racer by Band Presto. Japanese exclusive again. I did show this in a recent pickups. I believe, I'm no expert at all, but I believe it's based on some Japanese TV series or manga or something. But it's not something I've got any knowledge of. But it's a cracking little kart racer. Very Japanese. You know, it's a bit out there, but it is a good game. Not that easy to find. You know, it's not particularly common, and it's a sort of a mid-priced one, but it's a good game, Chirinko Hero. Then after I've said I've only got all these complete, there is one I've got disc only, which is that one. And it's Doshin the Giant. The reason I bought this was I was kind of curious about the game itself, because it's kind of quirky. But as you probably know, the PAL version is really expensive. And there's no way I was paying 80, 100 quid, wherever it goes for. Because there was a good chance I wasn't going to like the game. So that's why I bought this cheap Japanese disc only. And it is playable Japanese, but obviously being adventure based, there's a lot of text and you don't know what's going on. But you can work out the basics. You basically control this giant, I don't know, he's a weird looking kind of Savaloy thing. You've got to see it to believe it. And you just roam around this island or landscape, raising or lowering the land to help the locals live, and your actions determine their opinion of you, and then that alters the course of the game. It is good. I do quite like it, even though I'm not into that kind of thing generally. You know, God Sims, but I just like the quirky nature of it. So I'm not going to spend the money a PAL version costs, but I am on the lookout for a complete Japanese one. But it's definitely something of interest you might want to look at. And then we've got the all-time classic Soul Calibur 2. I mean, Soul Calibur is just fantastic on anything. I've got every iteration of this, I think. I just bought this. I think I've already got this American actually when I bought this Japanese one, but I just got to have it because what a game. One of the greatest fighting games ever for me. Right, then we've got, I've got the Game Boy Player disc. That's in a different style purple case. And then we've got another classic, Donkey Konga. Obviously this is out PAL, usually comes with the bongos. Cracking rhythm game. And you know, the bongos are just a mad controller, but I love them. That's Donkey Konga. And then in a similar vein we've got Donkey Konga 2. And it's very basic. Obviously you're beating the bongo drums in time with the music, much like any other rhythm game. And then there's a Japanese exclusive, Donkey Konga 3. For whatever reason, those first two came out in US and Japan, but this third one stayed in Japan. I don't know why. It's obviously just more of the same, but pity it didn't come out into this territory really. And then the last one in that series, we've got Donkey Kong Jungle Beat. Now this one's obviously more It's less of a rhythm game and more of a platform game, but using the bongo as a controller. And again, another good fun game. For some reason I didn't know that. I've got two of them for some reason. Don't know why. Right, then we've got Mario Tennis. Now, there's a lot of these Mario sports games are all pretty good, to be honest. So that's Mario Tennis. Then we've got Mario Party 6. There's quite a few party games on the GameCube, obviously. I think there are 4, is it? Yeah. Is it 4? No, hang on. 4, yeah, 4, 5, 6 and 7 are on the GameCube, aren't they? Is that right? Yeah, I think so. Anyway, I've got number 6 anyway. It's a bit awkward to play in Japanese, really. Not something I ever play. I'm not really a fan of Mario Party games. Then we've got Super Mario Sunshine. I remember playing this back in the day when it came out, and I thought it was quite good, but I never really got into it that much. And I played it quite a bit more in recent years with my nephew when he was old enough, and we got quite far on this, but I do find it frustrating, some of the levels on this. It gets a bit irritating, I think, but I do like the game. And then we've got Mario Kart Double Dash. For me, this is probably the second best Mario Kart game after the original SNES version. After this game, for me, it went seriously downhill, and I'm not a fan of it anymore. It's far too irritating. It's far too, it's far too much rubber band mechanics. You can never outrun the opposition. It's all sort of weapons based, and it just does my head in. The original SNES and this one are absolute classics for me. Love that one. And then we've got the launch title, which is Luigi's Mansion. Again, I didn't. I played this at launch, but I never had it myself. I was never that. It never grabbed me. In recent years, again, I've played this with my nephew, and it is a good game. And I've bought it again since that point. But at the time, it was all about Monkey Ball for me, and then Wave Race when I had my original Jack Cube. Then we've got the classic F-Zero GX. The sleeve on this one's not in the best of shape, but this one tends to go for a fair bit more money than some of the others on Japanese, obviously, because it's so bloody good, isn't it? F-Zero GX, though I must say I prefer the SNES one myself. And then we've got Wario World. Now, it's a shame this series is dead, because I think this is a good game. Like the Wii one, the Wario World Shake Dimension, that's a bloody good game. I don't know why they've kind of abandoned these Wario World games, because they are good. And then we've got, now this is a bit of a classic for me. This is a really pricey game, pal, and it's not the cheapest Japanese either. And that's Kirby's Air Ride. Not your standard Kirby game, obviously. It's a racing game, kind of flying around the air. It's unusual, but I do think it's reasonably good. I mean, ideally I'd like the American version, but it's too much money, hence why I bought this Japanese one originally. But it's great to have it, Kirby's Air Ride. Nearly there. Nearly there. Now this is the game that absolutely I couldn't stop playing back when I had my cube. I can't remember if this was launch or a couple of weeks after launch, but Wave Race Blue Storm. I'm a massive fan of the N64 original, and this is still amazing, but it's not as good as the N64 version for me. As good as this is, the N64 one is untouchable. It's the best water-based game ever on anything, in my opinion. But this GameCube one's still great. Wave Race Blue Storm. 2 to go. We've then got, this is a fairly recent pickup as well, we've got Ikaruga. I bought this I had this originally back on the Dreamcast when it came out, but sold that when I wasn't playing it much, like an idiot. But then since I've been getting back into getting into shooters, I thought I need a Ikaruga back, and this GameCube one is much cheaper than the Dreamcast, so hence I bought this one. Real good game for me. I do like this a lot. It does get bloody tricky. I played this at Arcade Club last week on the the proper cab. Great game. Can't remember where I got to, stage 3 or something. It gets super hard for me. It's just beyond my talent, really. But I enjoy playing it, and that's all that matters with these shooters. I'm not great at them. I have got slightly better, I think, but for me, I just enjoy playing them. I love the simple aspect of just turning it on. There's no bloody story. You just sit there with your controller and you just bloody shoot stuff. That's it. No other no other sort of thing to worry about, or just bloody kill stuff. That's all you need to know, and I love that. It's just arcade glory at its best. Right, the last one we've got is a bit of a, I don't know what you call this. It's a bit of a special item, I suppose. It's a Nintendo puzzle collection, and this is obviously the box set that comes with the what does it come with? Yeah, the Game Boy cable, the link cable. Now this is a Japanese exclusive, and it can get quite pricey, this one now. It's got 3 games on it. It's got is it Panel Upon, Yoshi's Cookie and Dr. Mario. All good games in their own right. I don't know which one I prefer of the 3, really. I think they're all much of a muchness. They're all good, really. But that's the puzzle collection, and it is, like I say, it's not the easiest to find in this complete form. I managed to get this from Vintage Gamer quite a while ago now, probably 18 months ago maybe. But that's the puzzle collection, and that's it for my Japanese GameCube games. Like I say, there are some I'm looking for, but we'll see what we find in the coming weeks and months. But we'll call it quits there. I'll record the US GameCube games as well, and put that out in a few days, and just so as you've got the entire thing, then in case you think there's some glaring omissions there in his cube collection, but wait, I might have it in the US collection. But thanks for watching. I hope that was interesting, seeing all the Japanese alternative boxes and artworks, and also some of the Jap exclusive GameCube games that didn't venture outside of Japan. So hopefully you found something informative there. But let me know if you've got any thoughts on all the Japanese, maybe exclusive GameCube titles. I am looking for, in particular, those 2 Hudson releases, Superstar Soldier and Cubic Load Runner, and also Castle Shikigami I'm looking for. There was another one I was looking for. Can't think where it is off the top of my head. I mean, there are others, but those are the 3. I'm sure there's a 4th one I'm actually, physically always searching for at the right price. But we'll leave it there anyway. Thanks for watching, and see you on the next one. Sayonara.